Welcome to Ascend and Awaken, a life of balance. Have you ever wondered what it truly means to live a soul-aligned life? To move through the world with your inner truth, guiding your outer actions. In a culture that often values speed, productivity, and conformity, it can be difficult to hear the gentle whisper of the soul. But a soul-aligned life is not a fantasy. It's a grounded, radiant way of being that is available to all of us. Let's begin with a simple truth. Your soul already knows the way. It's not about fixing or changing who you are. It's about remembering who you've always been, beneath the layers of expectation, fear, and conditioning. Soul alignment is the art of returning to your truth, your values, and your inner knowing. A soul-aligned life begins with authenticity. You stop performing. You stop betraying your needs to gain approval. You say yes when you mean yes. You say no with clarity and compassion. You begin honoring your emotional truth and living from a place of inner congruence, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. You also begin to live in flow rather than force. You stop pushing, striving, and hustling. Instead, you listen. You slow down. You follow intuitive nudges. You realize that your soul doesn't speak in urgency. It speaks in resonance. There's a grace that begins to guide your days, not because life is always easy, but because you are finally in sync with your true rhythm. In a soul-aligned life, your sense of purpose deepens. It might not look dramatic or world-changing. It might be raising compassionate children, creating beauty, or holding space for others. Your soul's purpose is often quiet, steady, and deeply personal, yet profoundly impactful. You begin to cultivate inner peace, even in the midst of external chaos. You realize that peace is not the absence of challenge, it's the presence of self. You stop outsourcing your worth. You stop chasing validation. You find yourself anchored in something deeper, your truth, your breath, your being. As you walk this path, you reconnect with the sacred. The sacred is no longer found only in temples or teachings. It lives in the sunlight, the silence, the eyes of those you love. Spirituality becomes embodied, not something you practice once in a while, but something you live every day. You begin choosing relationships based on resonance, not just familiarity. You attract or grow connections that honor your truth. You become less interested in approval and more devoted to connection. You also learn to lovingly release what no longer aligns, without shame or guilt. Because your peace matters. Time starts to feel different too. You no longer rush. You rest without guilt. You live with rhythm, not reaction. You begin trusting divine timing over rigid control. You allow your seasons to unfold with grace. Creativity blossoms when you're soul-aligned. You may express it through art, conversation, caregiving, or how you move through the world. You realize creativity isn't reserved for artists. It's the natural flow of a soul that feels safe and seen. Your connection to nature deepens. You feel part of the earth, not separate from it. Trees become mirrors. Water becomes a teacher. You remember that the natural world moves slowly, wisely, and without apology, just like your soul. Intuition sharpens with each aligned step. You trust your gut. You no longer need everyone's input. Your inner compass grows stronger. Even when things are uncertain, your soul's quiet voice leads the way. Transformation becomes less frightening. You stop fearing endings. You begin to welcome change as sacred. Shedding becomes holy. You trust that when something falls away, it's making space for something more aligned to arrive. And above all, self-compassion becomes your home. You stop criticizing your process. You give yourself grace. You stop demanding perfection and begin living with presence. You forgive yourself again and again and return to love. A soul-aligned life is not about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about listening deeply and living fully. It's about letting your outer life reflect your inner truth, one choice at a time. And if you've felt disconnected from that truth, know this: your soul is never lost. It's always calling you home, gently, patiently, lovingly. All you have to do is listen and follow the thread back to your heart. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe to Ascend and Awaken for more spiritual clarity and soul-centered living. Peace, love, and light to you on your continual spiritual journey.